The Galactic Empire fleet arrived near Earth without warning. Thousands of massive warships filled the dark sky of space. Their metal bodies blocked the stars. Their engines glowed like burning suns. Inside the command ship, the Empire's leaders watched Earth on their screens. "This is a human home world?" One commander asked. Another laughed. "It looks old, weak, divided." The Empire scanned planet. Their systems searched for weapons. They found outdated satellites, small defense stations, and slow ships. The commander smiled. "This planet cannot stop us," the fleet master said calmly. "They are not a threat." On Earth, alarms screamed across cities. Governments called emergency meetings. Soldiers were placed on alert. But everyone knew the truth. Earth was not ready for a war like this. Human defense weapons fired into space. Missiles rushed toward the Empire fleet. The Empire did not move. The missiles were destroyed in seconds. No damage. No effort. The Empire fleet moved closer to Earth. "This will be over quickly," the fleet master said. "Humans will surrender." Deep beneath Earth's surface, far away from the cities, a hidden facility came to life. Lights turned on in dark halls that had been silent for centuries. Ancient machines began to wake. A forgotten system received power. Old screens showed words no one had read in a long time. Project, prototype, status, inactive. A human scientist stared at the screen. His hands were shaking. "This project was abandoned," he whispered. "It was never meant to be used." In space, the Empire fleet prepared its main weapons. Energy began to gather. On Earth, the hidden system changed its status. Status, awakening. The Empire laughed at Earth. They did not know the truth. Earth's forgotten prototype was not broken. It was only waiting. Deep under Earth's surface, the hidden facility shook as power flowed through old systems. Thick cables hummed. Dust fell from the ceiling. Machines that had slept for centuries slowly came back to life. Only a few humans were allowed inside this place. They stood in silence, watching the screens light up one by one. "This base was sealed long before the Empire existed," the lead scientist said. His voice was low. Most records about it were erased. On the main screen, a symbol appeared. No flag, no nation, only a warning sign. Prototype level, extreme risk. The scientists remembered the old stories. The prototype was built during humanity's darkest age, a time when Earth feared extinction. It was not designed to defend borders. It was designed to end wars before they began. That was why it was hidden. In space, the Empire fleet began its attack. Blue energy beams struck Earth's orbital defenses. Stations exploded into bright fire. Satellites fell like burning stars into the atmosphere. The Empire commanders watched calmly. "Human resistance is weak," one said. "They are afraid." On Earth, cities went dark. Communication lines failed. Panic spread across the planet. Back in the underground facility, a final command waited on the screen. Activation confirmation required. The room was silent. "If we activate it," one scientist said, "we may not be able to stop it." The lead scientist closed his eyes. "If we do nothing," he replied, "Earth will fall." He pressed a command. Far below the facility, something massive moved, not with noise but with purpose. Energy flowed into a form that was not fully machine and not fully alive. In space, Empire sensors suddenly detected a new signal. The commanders frowned. "This energy pattern, it does not match any human weapon," one said. The fleet master leaned forward. "Find the source." Deep inside Earth, the prototype completed its first cycle. Its systems opened. Its awareness expanded. And for the first time in centuries, it looked toward the stars. The prototype finished its awakening in silence. No alarm sounded. No lights flashed. It did not move in panic or anger. It simply understood. Data flowed through it like thought. History, physics, enemy signals, human fear. It learned everything in seconds. Deep underground, the scientists watched the readings rise beyond safe limits. "This is impossible," one whispered. "It is rewriting its own systems." The prototype was not a normal weapon. It was built to think adapt and decide. Humans had given it one rule long ago: protect Earth. In space, the Empire fleet continued its attack. More human defenses were destroyed. The commanders showed no concern. Then the sensors changed. Fleet Master, an officer, said slowly, "We are detecting a moving object." The display showed a dark shape leaving Earth's surface. It was small compared to Empire warships. No visible weapons. No shields. The commanders laughed. "A single craft?" one said. "Humans are desperate." The prototype moved into space without engines. Space bent slightly around it. Empire sensors struggled to track it. "Lock weapons." The fleet master ordered. "Destroy it." Energy cannons fired. The blast crossed space in seconds. The prototype did not dodge. The energy hit and vanished. No explosion. No damage. The Empire fell silent. "How is that possible?" a commander asked. The prototype adjusted. It studied the Empire weapons, their power, their structure, their weakness. It learned. The prototype sent no message. It showed no emotion. It moved closer. Empire ships began firing again. Missiles, lasers, plasma beams. None of them worked. Inside the prototype, a decision was made, not based on anger, not based on revenge, based on efficiency. The prototype locked onto the Empire fleet. For the first time, it prepared a response. Back on Earth, the scientists watched the energy level spike. The lead scientist spoke softly. "Now the galaxy will understand," he said, "why we buried this project." In space, the prototype activated its first weapon, and the Empire's confidence disappeared. The Empire fleet opened full fire. Thousands of weapons struck the prototype at once. Space burned with light. Energy waves crashed together. The Empire expected the object to break apart. It did not. The prototype absorbed the attack. Its outer layer shifted and changed. The energy was not wasted. It was studied, reused. Empire officers stared at their screens. "It is copying our weapons," one said in fear. The fleet master stood still. "Increase power," he ordered. "No human device can survive this." A command ship fired its main cannon, a weapon strong enough to destroy moons. The beam struck the prototype directly. For one moment, the galaxy went silent. Then the beam bent. It curved around the prototype and disappeared into empty space. The Empire fleet froze. The prototype moved. Not fast, not slow. Perfect. It passed through the first warship. No explosion. No warning. The ship simply went dark and fell apart into silent pieces. One ship was gone. Then another. Then 10 more. Empire formations broke. Orders were shouted. Signals crossed each other in panic. "This is not possible," a commander screamed. The prototype adapted again. It no longer needed to touch the ships. Space itself twisted where it focused. Empire vessels collapsed inward, crushed by forces they did not understand. The fleet master finally showed fear. "Retreat," he ordered. But the prototype had already learned the Empire's movement systems. Their jump drives failed. Their escape paths closed. On Earth, the scientists watched the battle unfold. No one spoke. They saw the prototype change tactics with each second. Faster, smarter, more precise. "This was never a weapon," the lead scientist said quietly. "It is a judgment system." In space, the prototype stopped for a moment. It analyzed the remaining fleet. It calculated the outcome. The Empire had made one grave mistake. They believed Earth was weak. The prototype chose the most efficient solution: total removal. The first command ship vanished. Then the battle truly began. The Empire fleet tried to run. Massive warships turned in panic. Engines burned at full power. Space around them filled with jump signals as they attempted to escape. None of it worked. The prototype was already everywhere. It moved through space like a shadow, not bound by speed or distance. Where it appeared, Empire ships stopped working. Systems failed. Power vanished. Crews never saw what destroyed them. One by one, the fleet disappeared. Some ships exploded. Others folded into themselves as space twisted. A few simply went silent and faded away, erased from reality. Empire commanders screamed orders that no one could follow. We are losing control. Our weapons are useless. This is not human. The fleet master watched his empire fall apart. Thousands of ships, built over centuries, were destroyed in minutes. This is impossible, he whispered. The prototype changed tactics again. It targeted command ships next. One focused strike, and the Empire's coordination collapsed. The fleet became blind. Back on Earth, the scientists saw the final phase begin. Energy readings reached levels never recorded before. It is ending the battle, one scientist said. Completely. In space, the prototype released a silent wave. It passed through the remaining fleet like a calm breath. Every Empire ship froze. Then they vanished together. No fire, no sound, just empty space. The battle was over. The Empire's fleet was gone. Not damaged, not defeated. Erased. For several seconds, the prototype remained still. It scanned the area. No threats. No survivors. Mission complete. On Earth, people looked up at the sky. They saw no enemy ships. No falling fire. Only silence. The prototype turned back toward Earth. It did not celebrate. It did not rest. It simply waited. The galaxy had just learned a lesson it would never forget. Humanity had been underestimated, and the cost was an entire empire. Silence filled space where the Empire's fleet once ruled. The prototype remained motionless, floating near Earth's orbit. No weapons were active. No energy spikes showed on sensors. It looked calm, almost peaceful. On Earth, emergency alarms slowly stopped. Governments waited. Militaries stood down. No one knew what would happen next. Inside the underground facility, the scientists watched the prototype system stabilize. It is not attacking, one said. It is waiting. The lead scientist nodded. It always was meant to protect, not conquer. The prototype scanned the stars. It searched for hidden threats, for distant fleets, for watchers who might be afraid or curious. It found many. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations watched in shock. The Empire was gone. A force that had ruled for thousands of years had vanished in minutes. No warnings were sent. No threats were spoken. That frightened them more. Earth transmitted a single message into deep space. Short, clear, calm. We did not seek war. We defended our home. The message carried no anger, no pride, only truth. The prototype received the signal and acknowledged it. Its mission parameters adjusted. Defense mode only. It slowly descended closer to Earth. Not as a ruler, not as a god, as a guardian. Deep underground, systems powered down. Ancient machines returned to silence. The prototype did not shut itself off completely. It remained aware, watching, waiting. Humans returned to their lives, knowing everything had changed. Earth was no longer ignored, no longer mocked. The galaxy would remember this moment. They would remember the mistake they did not make. They would remember the empire that laughed at humans. And they would remember how quickly that laughter ended. High above Earth, the prototype remained unseen by most, a quiet shadow against the stars. A reminder, Earth was not weak. It never was. It had simply chosen peace, until peace was no longer an option.